Hey class, this video we're going to take a look at how we can simplify fractions in three different ways. The first way is by using division. So if I have my fraction here 12/18, just looking at those two fractions, I know that they are both divisible by 2. Now, when I write this, I need to make sure that I write 12/18 divided by 2 over 2, because we want to keep the fraction equivalent. If we don't write 2 over 2, then we're probably going to be dividing by 2 over 1, which wouldn't be keeping the fraction equivalent. So you have to divide by 12 over 18 by 2 over 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So I'm left with 6/9. But now I need to ask myself, is that in simplest form? When I look at those two numbers, I can tell that they have a common factor. 6 and 9 both have 3 as a common factor, so I can divide them both by 3. So again, I need to divide by 3 over 3, because whatever I do to the numerator, I have to do to the denominator to keep the fraction equivalent, right? So 6 divided by 2 would be 6 divided by 3 would be 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. If I look at those two fractions, I know that 2/3 can't be simplified because their only common factor is 1. 2 and 3, their only common factor is 1, because 2's only common factors are 2 and 1, 3's are 3 and 1. Another way that I can find the simplest form of a fraction is very similar, by using the greatest common factor. So looking at these two numbers, I could use any of those strategies that we used last chapter to find the greatest common factor. I could make a list of all the factors of 12 and 18. I could use a Venn diagram, or I could use the prime factorization. Now, looking at those two numbers, I know that 6 is the greatest common factor of both of those. So if I divide both numbers by 6, again, I'm going to write 6 in the numerator and the denominator to keep the fraction equivalent. My quotient is going to be 2/3. And since I divided by the greatest common factor, the GCF, I know that 2/3 is in simplest form, because their only other common factor would be 1. And the last way that I'm going to show you how to simplify fractions is by using prime factorization. So if I look at my same fraction, 12/18, and look at the prime factorization first of 12, I know I have 2 times 2, which would be 4, times 3, which is equal to 12. And again, I could use a factor tree to figure out the prime factorization. So that's my prime factorization for 12. Now let's look at 18. 18, I know I can split up into 2 and 9. So 2, and then 9 isn't prime, so I can make that 3 multiplied by 3. So that's my prime factorization of both 12 and 18. And I can write my fraction as 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12, over 2 times 3 times 3, which is 18. Now to simplify, I look at what these numbers have in common, what those prime factors have in common. So I can see that 12 and 18 both have 2 in common, and they also have a 3 in common. So I'm going to cross those out, because if I'm looking at this, I can divide. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then they also have 3's in common. So I can cross those out and say, that becomes 1. Because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So now all I have left is 1 times 2 times 1, and anything multiplied by 1 is itself, so all I have left is 2. And then on the denominator, all I have left is 3. So there's 2/3 once again. So prime factorization is another way that you can use to find the simplest form of a fraction. Thanks for watching. Check back soon.